Hey guys, welcome on in. Welcome in. How are you guys doing tonight? I swear when I have my hair pulled back, it looks like I have no hair, but I do. It's just a little curl. It looks like I don't have any hair. So welcome in everybody. I was looking at the chat before the live, so I saw that there were some people chatting in here. I love that. I love that. Coming in early, coming in hot for the Ruby Frank updates. For some reason, I feel like it's so quiet around me. I don't know. Do you guys? I hate when it's like super quiet. I have a fan, but I don't know. I can't hear it very well. But if you're new to the channel, my name's Tanya or TitaniumBuilt, and welcome on in. And for the returning Titans, welcome back for yet another live. It's going to be a good one tonight. So if you do enjoy the stream, I hope you'll consider, liking the video and subscribing to the channel. If you don't like the stream, thumbs it down, I guess, give me some feedback either way, but hopefully you'll like it. We'll give it a couple minutes, let some people come in, put it on live chat. I've been trying to remember to do that. Jan reminds me. Sometimes the settings will go to like it won't go to like all messages. It'll go to like top messages. So you'll be able to see everybody that's chatting. If you'd like to chat with us, we'd love to have you. And it's Sunday. This weekend went by quick. Ari said Friday can't come here soon enough already. That's funny. I know it's been a quick weekend. We got some stuff done though. I worked with Vincent very hard today. Poor guy. He got a lot done for me, so it was really nice. We have a bunch of totes that needed to be put somewhere, so he did a good job. Buck said, I like to chat. I like it too. Me too. And sorry that I didn't get to chat so much last night on the live. Like I was up here with Sleuthy, and when I'm on panel, I'm trying to like focus so much that like it was hard for me to see the chat. So I was like, oh man, that's like the only thing. So next time if we do a panel, I'll just make sure I stay on for a little while longer. That way I can chit chat with you guys. But we were on really late. I woke up this morning and we talked about like Idaho and Delphi last night on our live till I think it was like 1:30 in the morning or something. I was like, when I woke up this morning, I felt hungover, and I don't drink. I woke up and I was like, am I here? My eyes still feel a little tired, but it was a really good conversation. So if you guys didn't check out the live last night, make sure you check it out if you're into, Idaho case or the Delphi case. Let's see here. Oh yeah. So I do have another channel if you guys would like to subscribe to it. I'm trying to get some people over there to subscribe. That way we can start doing some content that's outside of, maybe true crime over there. Something a little more lighthearted, a little more funny. So if you'd like to, I put the link in the chat for you. If you have any questions about the live, I will try to make sure that I see them. If you want, just put like a Q before your question and I'll try to pin it. That way I can come back to it later. So. And then if you'd like to support the channel, you can always do so by becoming a member or, super chat, super thanks, all that kind of good stuff. So I appreciate you guys all being here. That's the only thing I need. We're going to be talking about Ruby Frank tonight because I'm on fire. I don't know if you guys saw my video or if you were here Friday for the live, but that's when we kind of found out. Actually, one of you guys said there was a Ruby Frank update. I don't know I forget who it was. Shoot. If you're in here, holler at me. Because it was the end of our Idaho live stream and we were just talking about other cases we cover. And this case had an update and it was a big update. So we're going to go over that tonight and we're going to go over her court appearance tomorrow morning. So I want to go ahead and show you guys an article though, that I know that came out. This came out a while ago, but it's like a timeline of everything that's been going on, has gone on. So I figured we could read through it, and then that will give us a little idea. If anyone needs an idea of what's going on in this case. It's a really crazy one. Oh, yeah, me too. I hope you do too. Oh, you're going to get them tomorrow, hopefully. Hopefully tomorrow you'll get your results. I was reading the chat. And welcome in everybody that's coming in. Let me go ahead and see here. Okay, yeah, so let's go over this timeline. I think that'd be a good refresher for everybody. She has been charged with 6 counts of aggravated child A. Her and her business partner, Jodi Hildebrandt. That was back in August. They've been sitting in jail ever since. So this timeline will give us like a little bit of her life before, knowing Jodi, and then kind of how they met and started connections together. She was also, if you're not aware, she was a family vlogger, but it'll tell us all this stuff. So I'll read through here. Read this first. Actually, let me grab my glasses if you guys don't mind. And I feel like my throat is like a little hoarse. I'm sorry if it is. I should have grabbed, I was going to get some hot chocolate or something, and I forgot. Maybe I could text Vincent and ask him if he'll make me some hot chocolate. Where's my phone? And then I probably will be done reading, though. I'm going to ask him if he sees it. He might be watching, actually. Okay. So it says here, family vlogger Ruby Frank amassed millions of followers. I just heard the computer go on the floor. On social media while documenting her family's life in the lakeside suburb of Springville, Utah over the years. But since 2020, skeptics of Franke and her husband, Kevin Franke's 8 Passengers page, began to grow, worried about Mormon family's strict household. Now, strict is going to be like, that's not even the word that we're looking for here. It's definitely not. And let me know in the chat if you guys had a strict family, like, and what you thought was strict, because like my family wasn't, my parents weren't strict, like at all, like, but we were always good. I don't know how to explain. Like we were very respectful. Our curfew was like 10 o'clock. We always made sure we were home by 9:30. We just did it. We just out of respect. So we never had to have our parents be more strict on us because we didn't. And then they just weren't strict in nature either. So I guess it was kind of good. Franke initially slammed her critics, according to the Wrap, and remained steadfast about her and her husband's stern parenting style, sharing videos explaining how she'd take away a child's bed as punishment or withholding meals as a teaching lesson. And now I want to know how, like, those things that she did right there were before Jodi. So when we get to what she's going to be doing at court tomorrow, just remember that. Remember, she did these things before she met Jodi. And it says, now 41, Franke, now 41, ultimately caved to the public pressure and stopped posting videos on her controversial 8 Passengers vlog, then joined Connections Parenting Advice podcast with a local Mormon therapist, Jodi Hildebrandt. There was actually a petition that was out for Franke and her parenting style, and they had like amassed, I think it was, I want to say like 18,000 signatures on this petition. And they wanted this channel shut down. People wanted this channel looked into. They were trying to get people to, like the officers and stuff, to look into it. And they didn't look into it. 18,000 signatures is a lot. Hey, Harlow. Hey, everybody. That's a lot. She makes me so mad. The two women roused more backlash across social media by posting videos with their diverse thoughts on parenting, religion, sexuality, race, and other social and political issues. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen any of these Connections videos, but they were off the wall, batshit crazy. The parenting style was. Their videos were often mocked or picked apart by critics who used other social media pages to respond directly to the Connections post. And when Franke and Hildebrandt, 54, were arrested late last month, which this article came out in September, so August, and charged with felony child A, those critics, as well as a growing number of family members, friends, and neighbors, have spoken out saying the news was long time coming, even if some found the level of alleged A to be shocking. YouTube doesn't like it when we use that word, so we'll just abbreviate it. And then here's what led up to Ruby and Jodi's arrest and recent court appearances. So this is as Ruby and Kevin Franke began 8 Passengers vlog in 2015. Soulshine said, my parents were very strict, but I never got in trouble or spanked in my entire childhood life. Yeah, me neither. I was way too scared of my dad and wouldn't dare go against what he said. My parents were awesome. My parents were like that too. They were awesome. When I did something, like if I ever did anything, I always went to my mom. And then she would say, don't tell your father. just don't. Like, my dad went to his grave thinking that his little girl, I mean, I was 22, but he thought I never did anything wrong. Like, he thought I know, I mean, he just really thought I mean, and I didn't do anything wrong. Like, but he thought, like, she doesn't drink. She doesn't have a drink. She doesn't, do anything like that. I don't know. Just, it was, looking back on it now, it was cute. But he probably didn't know. He was a little smarter than that. So it says here that Ruby and her husband, Kevin, and well, he's just as bad, began documenting their life as parents to 6 children in 2015, posting vlogs on their now deleted 8 Passengers YouTube channel. According to Insider, the Franke family amassed about 2.5 million followers on the page, which came under scrutiny around 2020 and has since been deleted by YouTube in the wake of Franke's arrest last month. Now, they made millions off of their channel. Like, I don't know if it was in my comment section or on Twitter I saw, but somebody was saying, like, Jodi has all this money and Jodi's going to be able to get a really good lawyer and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. So is Ruby. She has money. She has tons of money. She said she made tons of money because of her, like, endorsements and, like, ad revenue. And I mean, you have 2.5 million people following you, and a lot of them are lurkers. They're trolls, maybe, like, they don't like her, but they're still watching it, so they're still giving her those views, so she's still getting the AdSense and the money. Like, I mean, you told your mom everything too. Me too. Probably your dad never provides. Like, yeah, that was me too. Just like, don't tell your father. Just don't tell your father. And I never got in trouble. My dad one time, he went to go kick my brother, I guess. He was going to kick him in the butt. He was so mad at him. I guess my brother did something. He was little and he did something and it was like really made my dad really upset. And he went to go kick him in his butt and he fell on this ice and busted his butt. And he was like, I'm never going to mess with that kid again. He was like, that was my karma. So it was pretty funny memory. And I have this sweater that Ruby's wearing. So bad. Let me see. Okay. Oh man, I'm spelling that wrong. Okay. Sorry, guys. We'll get there, I promise. In 2020, numerous people signed an online petition asking Child Protective Services to investigate the Franke family. The petition cited a number of controversial videos that Franke uploaded on her family's 8 Passengers page, including one in which the family's oldest child, in which Franke's oldest son, because that's not her oldest child, it's her oldest son, Chad, says his mother took his bed away from him for 7 months after he played a prank on a sibling. I was sleeping on a beanbag since October, the teenage tells the camera, as his mother laughs. It's so bad. And I was actually listening today, and it's on one of the videos we'll listen to, that when I don't know if you guys are familiar with this case, they sent their son Chad to like this wilderness kind of camp, like one of those camps that nobody wants to go to. And I guess they took his bed away there when he got there. So Ruby Franke is saying, well, I thought it would be okay because they did it there. Like, she's like, I didn't see the problem. Well, you're the only person. It says here, in another resurfaced clip, Franke records herself explaining, I just got a text message from Eve's sister, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today. Franke then says she told the teacher she refused to bring her then 6-year-old daughter her lunch as a teaching lesson and that she's just going to need to be hungry. Hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her lunch because then she's not going to learn from the natural outcome. That's so bad. 6 years old. So crazy. Okay, Vincent said almost 2 minutes. I'm going to grab this drink. Yankee calls it, Tony, if I get a tattoo, my father would kill me. I thought so too with my dad. I got a tattoo on my lower back too. When I was 18, my dad freaked. But he couldn't freak that much because he got a tattoo when I was 13 and he told me not to tell my mother. Okay, dude, you got a t-shirt on. My dad never wore t-shirts in the house. He just didn't. He just always didn't wear. He was just that guy. I don't know. And he was wearing a t-shirt and I'm like, you're busting yourself out, dude. Like, It's your wife. She's going to see the tattoo on your arm. Don't tell your mother. I do, Ashley. I got a drip stamp. I do. It's my initials in like Chinese lettering. And my dad would, oh my gosh, he'd be so mad. He was like, just let me erase it off. Just let me get rid of it. Can't do that. See, look what I did. And I didn't have to sleep on a beanbag chair. I still got my bed. And these kids were good. These kids were really good. Like we see them on video. They don't really look that excited or happy, but they are good. They're very well behaved. So initially, Franke dismissed her critics and told the Wrap in 2021 interview that she was simply demonstrating what a responsible mother looks like with her diverse vlog. However, the next summer, Franke had stopped uploading videos to the channel and announced she was splitting off from the family's page to join Hildebrandt's Connections podcast. The two also began posting under their Moms of Truth social media page, which was met with similar criticism for their controversial parenting advice. YouTube also confirmed to people it had taken down the woman's connection page, but had some resurfaced clips show Franke downplaying the seriousness of eating disorders, blaming our victims, and criticizing you as immigrants alongside Hildebrandt, among other social and political comments that drew the ire of many viewers. Man, you guys are going to freak me what she's going to do tomorrow. I'm going to grab the hot cocoa really quick, and then that'll help me read better. Hold on one second. Okay, I got it. And it tastes good. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, now I'll be able to like focus maybe a little more too. Look at my cup. It says you are my favorite. He's cute. I have to let it cool down a little bit, but thank you. Thanks, Vincent. And thank you guys for waiting. And hey, Reba, welcome in. Okay. I feel rejuvenated. And it says Jodi and Ruby and Jodi are arrested on August 30th, 2023. And it says Franke and Hildebrandt were arrested on CA charges, child age charges in 2023, August 2023. Officers from the Santa Clara Public Safety Department responded to Hildebrandt's home in Ivins, Utah, after a neighbor called 911 to report that Franke's allegedly emancipated 12-year-old son, or 12-year-old boy, knocked at his door asking for help, according to a probable cause affidavit obtained by People. And I have the probable cause affidavit. I will read through it again. It's not very long, so I thought it'd be a good idea to read through it again. The boy, who police had said had visible wounds and marks from tape around his wrist and ankles, asked the man for food and water. Soon after, police found Franke's 10-year-old daughter allegedly in similar physical condition of malnourishment. And they found her inside of Hildebrandt's home. Child Protective Services took them, plus two older siblings and their teens, into custody after police arrived at Franke's home in Springville, Utah. I guess the kids are still in Child Protective Services, I'm assuming. Hey, Juju. I don't drink tea. I drink hot chocolate. Vincent's the tea guy. We have a ton of tea. I should see what they are. I'll have to check them for you. He has a ton of tea. He's a tea guy. It's just very strange. Okay. Franke's oldest daughter speaks out. Sherry, they have their oldest daughter, Sherry, and she's been vocal before, like all of this. She has posted on her Instagram before about her family kind of problems, but it says Franke's oldest daughter, Sherry, was relieved when police arrived at the family's home in Springville, Utah, after their mother and Hildebrandt were arrested earlier that day. Finally, Sherry 20 wrote on Instagram alongside a photo of police at the home. Today has been a big day, Sherry wrote in another post on Instagram that day. Me and my family are so glad justice is being served. We've been trying to tell the people in CPS for years about this. So glad they finally decided to step up. Wow. There's if they're being told by CPS, why was nobody I guess they would go check the house and it would be fine. You have a beautiful home. You have beautiful kids. They're dressed good. They're clean. I guess I would leave too. Super hot. So Ruby's 3 sisters say her arrest needed to happen. Days later, Franke's 3 sisters who also spoke out in support of her arrest, sharing a joint statement on social media. For the last 3 years, we have kept quiet on the subject of our sister Ruby. Okay, so right there, that was before, she hasn't known Jodi for 3 years, I don't believe. I wonder exactly how long they've known each other. If anyone knows that, let me know if you guys know exactly when they met. I don't think it's said in here. Like when they met. I don't think it did. I'll look it up if not. Because I want to know, because she's planning on, trying to do a plea deal tomorrow. So I'm just wondering how long, her friendship was with Jodi, because I know that she was doing stuff before Jodi. You think 2 years, Nikki said? Okay. I'll have to look that up because I know it wasn't that long. I feel like it was just within the last couple of years because she shut her page down in like 2020. Didn't it say that? I'll have to look back through the article. I'll have to look back through. Right, Ashley? Well, she wanted to get into that jail, over to her so bad in the beginning. She wanted to get to Jodi, talk to Jodi. Very weird, Now all of a sudden it's not. She doesn't want to be her own Jodi. She's going to blame Jodi. So then it says here. Okay. For the last 3 years, we have kept quiet on the subject of our sister Ruby Frank for the sake of her children. The 3 sisters, Ellie, Julie, and Bonnie, wrote in a joint statement. Behind the public scene, we have done everything we could to try to make sure the kids were safe. And I hope that the officers look into that. I don't know why they probably wouldn't get in any trouble, but I think that they should look into that. See if they really were trying to help these kids. The 3 sisters, who are also family social media influencers, added, we wouldn't feel right about moving forward with regular content without addressing the most recent events. Once we do, we will not be commenting on it further. Ruby was arrested, which needed to happen. Jodi was arrested, which needed to happen. The kids are now safe, which is the number 1 priority. Yeah, they're safe, but mentally, not good. So a neighbor who has lived near the Franke family for about 5 years told people about red flags that led other families in their affluent religious neighborhood to contact authorities in the months leading up to Franke's arrest. I think we saw some weird things the neighbor who spoke on the condition of anonymity told people, but I don't think anybody thought that these kids were being physically abused to that degree. I wouldn't probably think it either. She probably didn't do anything outside the home where where they could be heard. They had the windows blacked out with paper and stuff. You couldn't see into the home. Who knows what kind of soundproofing they had in there. And they could have said, oh, it was just for our YouTube blog, our vlog, we just needed to have this soundproofing for that. That's weird. No, I've never seen a YouTuber put some paper up on their windows ever. But they did that. So I don't, they were trying to hide something. So nearly a week after their arrest, Franke and Hildebrandt were both charged with 6 counts of felony CA. The 2 women are being held in Washington County Jail without bail as they await court hearings. Neither Franke nor Hildebrandt have entered pleas to any of their 6 individual charges, and attorneys for both women have not responded to requests for comment when reached by people. Oh, they're being smart. They're not talking. In the aftermath of Franke's arrest, YouTube deleted the parenting social media influencers, 8 passengers, and connections channels and banned her from the platform. In a statement to people, a YouTube spokesperson said the platform has terminated 2 channels linked to Ruby Franke in accordance with our creator responsibility guidelines, and that it has also prepared to delete other channels that might attempt to re-upload Franke's content. Ooh. That's what people are probably getting. Because there's some channels on YouTube right now that are getting dinged. I forget, I've heard about it. I wonder if that's what it is. because they're talking about Frankie, and they're putting like the old clips from her old channel onto theirs. We've never done that. We've never played old clips. So we're safe, I think. Wow. Because it says prepare to delete other channels. They ain't even talking about striking. They're just deleting you. Wow. Ooh, okay. If you see anybody that was there one day and gone the next, they streamed Frankie's stuff, let them know. That's crazy. So Frankie appeared in court for the first time on September 7th. As a juvenile judge, her testimony in the matter of where the 4 underage Frankie children will be placed with their mother. I'm sorry, I'm going to read it again. Frankie appeared in court for the first time on September 7th. As a juvenile judge, her testimony in the matter of where the 4 underage Frankie children will be placed with their mother in jail. Kevin Franke was in attendance at the hearing but could not share details about the testimony. His attorney, Randy Keister, told People the judge ordered those in attendance that no one was allowed to share information about the case outside the courtroom in order to protect the children. Now, I wonder if they will. I mean, we're going to hear something. We'll hear something, I'm sure. But I wonder if after everything's done, if they'll release the information or if it's going to be always under seal because of them being like underage. Got my drink here. My glasses fogged up. Oh, I remember this one when everyone tuned into the court appearance. I think they shut it down. Just let me know if I think that's what it was. It says more than 1,000 people tuned in for Ruby and Jodi's first court appearance on child abuse charges. Frankie and Hildebrandt did not enter pleas during their first court appearance on their child A charges, and a judge ordered they remain in custody without bond until a second hearing on September 21st with a new judge. The court appearance was delayed for roughly an hour as officials tried to sort out the logistics of the virtual hearing, which was attended by reporters, family members, and hundreds of interested social media followers. I'm pretty sure it got shut down. Because wasn't it like somebody was streaming it? There's so many times that people are streaming stuff live and they do something to mess it up. It's every time. So I can't remember exactly what it was this time, but I think that's what it was. Jan, it better not. I hope it doesn't. I'll cry if anything happens with Idaho and them restreaming it. Well, when it was, wasn't it Jared Lysick or something? And Duty Ron was telling people to like his video and stuff, and he didn't know he was on a live mic, and I'm like, we were all in there, but I didn't. But I was streaming through someone else, I think, or something, so I wasn't actually in the chat. Crazy. That'd be embarrassing. It really would. Ruby and Jodi both require medical aid. Yeah, so about a week after their arrest, and I want to know what this medical condition is that they both had. Oh no. About a week after their arrest, Frankie was briefly moved into a medical observation block at the Purgatory Correctional Facility in southwestern Utah before returning to a normal holding cell, while Hildebrandt remained in a medical observation unit for several days. To me, medical observation unit sounds like an S, that like a unaliving yourself kind of place where you observation. Doesn't that sound I thought it was a hospital, but observation block, doesn't that sound more like we're watching you, make sure you don't do anything? I wonder if what's an observation? I'm just wondering. So now I'm reading it like that, observation. I'm going to look that up. If they don't say anything. Okay, well, it brought up the S word, though. This is saying disciplinary. Observation cell. It says here, generally speaking, is used for disciplinary purposes, but couldn't it be like they're just watching her, making sure she don't do nothing stupid? Not sure. It's very weird. I'm gonna look into that. Hildebrandt's attorney told a judge in mid-September that she has experienced a life-threatening medical issue resulting in her hospitalization for several days. Like, okay, well, what would life-threatening medical be? They haven't been able to confirm that the woman's health status through jail records show Hildebrandt remains in medical observation. And this was back in September. This was out. So she's back in her jail cell. Hildebrandt's niece, Jessie Hildebrandt, alleged in an interview, why did they have to put this? Who uses they, them pronouns? Like, why would you have to put that? Why is that even relevant to the story? I don't get that. Like, okay, people. Okay. I mean, okay. I don't know. I don't understand that. But she had an interview with KUTV on September 11th that her aunt had abused them while under the care for roughly a year when they were a teenager. Jessie alleged the abuse, which they alleged happened more than 10 years ago, was similar to the reported details about Franke's children. The things that I experienced while living with Jodi, and this is her niece saying this, and this article is back from September. So that's going to kind of give Franke, Jodi or Ruby, a small point, but only a small, because she was doing this crap before she met Jodi. So I don't understand why she's trying to say she wasn't. But it says here, the things I experienced while living with Jodi, I experienced being tied. I experienced being duct taped. I experienced being blindfolded. I experienced severe isolation. I experienced severe emotional, spiritual, and psychological I experienced being told I shouldn't be around other people, being told that I was dangerous to be around. People were afraid of me to the point where I was afraid of myself. That's sad. Jessie recalled that they were isolated for up to 12 hours a day and were once forced to sleep outside in the snow while under Jodi's care, as well as alleging that Jodi accused me of being a sex addict and of being addicted to masturbation. Jessie decided to speak out about their experience after reading a report last week about Franke's claims of sex within her family. I've never met Ruby, but the things that she is saying and regurgitating are very, very familiar to me. The philosophies and the therapeutic modalities that she is using are Jodi's, and these are not new. This is a pattern. So she's saying, right? I mean, she's saying like this is stuff that like Jodi teaches. So maybe like Ruby was like a terrible parent, but let's say she was like pretty terrible, like where she takes like kids' beds away, she won't go give them lunch because she's like, nope, life lesson. Like she's got something little wrong up there, But maybe she's not the type that would fully hurt her children. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. I'm not on Ruby's side at all. And maybe Jodi did kind of brainwash her. But how? Like that lady, I can't even stand to hear her talk, let alone brainwash me, So what is it? I love that Jan knows stuff. I'm listening. I'm listening, honestly. I'm just sorry. I was just reading the chat. Yeah, she abuses kids before Jodi, and that needs to be addressed and prosecuted. Absolutely. And what are we just going to skip over Kevin? We just forget about him? Are we really going to forget about Kevin? Because I'm not. I follow it. Ooh, Auto. I don't know what it's under. Actually, Jan may know. Because I think she follows it too. Okay. We'll go over to the next thing here. I wanted to show you guys these. I have these for some reason. I didn't want to like go through all of my saved bookmarks. So I got these off of Reddit, but they're just the charges for Ruby, and the same charges that Ruby has, Jodi got charged with as well. But I thought we would just kind of like look over this. So in case, there's people watching that don't know exactly what she was charged with, you'll know. Now, her first little court appearance, she was like blaming the kids. Remember, she was saying the kids were abusive. Sorry, YouTube, I didn't mean to say that word, but that they were the ones that were like, let me see if I can find the article, that they were the ones that were to blame pretty much. So I don't understand why she can blame them in one, aspect, but then say that she's going to, plead guilty and saying she didn't do like some of this stuff because she was brainwashed. I don't understand. Let me see if I can find it. This is what I'm looking for. Let's see. Did they like take this off the internet? Because remember, she was saying like they were doing like weird stuff. I don't even remember exactly what it was. I mean, it was just like so bad though. Is this it? There, yeah, here it is. Okay. Like this is just one article, but I remember seeing these. So it says YouTuber Ruby Franke, who is facing, 6 counts of felony aggravated CA, has alleged that one of her 6 children had sexually aid another sibling, and also did that to a number of family members and neighborhood children for years. The shocking claims were reported in an article by Daily Mail. It says Ruby came before court on Thursday, September 8th, for a shelter hearing involving 4 of her minor children. The 41-year-old mom influencer appeared to be sobbing as she went into some horrific details about how one of her children abused other children. Ruby Franke did not mention the name, but claimed that one of her children started looking at adult films when they were only 3 years old. Now, how did they get adult? If that was true, how would they have had adult films at 3 years old? How would they know about adult films at 3 years old? You don't get taught that. Like, I mean, you do. You only get taught that, but you don't know that at 3 years old. Damn, I think he should be culpable all the way. But they're not even like touching him. I don't understand it. It says she added that one of her younger children, or one of her younger kids, who was being by the sibling, also started doing that to other children as an accomplice. So one was doing it to the other one started doing it to other kids. Like that's what she was. So that's all of them that she was. Yeah, that's all of it. It's so crazy. She was saying that her children were like incest, that they're looking at pornography. Like who, what, who at 3 years old? The only way you're going to see that is if somebody else is watching that and you're 3 years old and you end up walking into the room. How are you going to be able, how do you, let's say it's an old VHS tape, okay? Old school VHS. How is a 3-year-old, and I know 3-year-olds are smart, but how are they going to work the tape, go find it, put it in, hit play. Let's say it's a TV. Just need a remote. Like it's on the TV. Why didn't they have parental locks? And how did your kid get to this channel so quick? And all the time he said he was watching it, like it wasn't just a one-time deal. It's just I have questions. I have a lot of questions for her. Sorry, guys. I think I have my watch on a little too tight. She's been doing this since before we knew about it, really. Let me close some of these. There's so many. I wanted to show you guys I'm going to share this with you. And these are just her charges. And she's charged with like 6 of these. So I'm not going to read all of them, but I'll just read one. But she's charged with, this is just 1 count. And then she has 6 counts. And it's aggravated CA. It's a 2nd-degree felony. And that the defendant intentionally or knowingly inflicted upon a child serious physical injury, or having the care or custody of such child caused or permitted another to inflict serious physical injury upon said child. Now, to me, that's cut and dry. You either was there and you did it, or you let somebody else do it and you didn't say anything about it. Well, either way, that's true. Because I thought she was going to try to shimmy me out of this by saying, well, I wasn't there. I don't know what Jodi was doing. But right here it says, or having the care or custody of such child caused. Yeah, that's crazy. So she has 6 of these. There's 3 there. And then, the rest are here. Very crazy. And then that's the same thing. I wanted to read this one to you. So this is like the arrest probable cause statement. Oh, thanks, Jan. I didn't know what it was under. Is it under Judge Sean Judge? Yeah, I don't think he'll be monetized. I don't think that they'll make money off that. I think that would be in poor taste. It would be very poor taste. I mean, it'd be a lot of money though, I would say. But I don't think he'll monetize, because then people could you don't have to highlight super stickers, I guess. So it's not like, they just come up on the screen, which is, I guess that's okay. But yeah, I don't know. That'd be kind of weird to be monetized. So on August 30th, 2023, and this is going to go over, why she was placed under arrest. Ruby Franke was placed under the arrest for the following: CA. So her son, and his name's out there. If you know it, you know it. It's Russell. His name's out there. Like, their names are out there. They had 2.5 million subscribers. But the little boy, he climbed out of the window of an Ivins residence belonging to Jodi Hildebrandt and ran to a neighbor's home. We'll just say maybe his initials. So RF knocked on the door requesting food and water. The neighbor observed duct tape on RF's ankles and wrist and contacted law enforcement. Upon arrival, law enforcement observed the wounds and the malnourishment of RF to be severe, and RF was transported to the blank hospital or Dacted Hospital. RF was placed on medical hold due to RF's deep lacerations from being tied up with rope and from malnourishment. Ruby Franke was seen on a YouTube video filmed in Jodi Hildebrandt's downstairs, which was posted 2 days ago. Can't say you wasn't there. Can't say you didn't know about it. Can't say you didn't know. Because malnourishment like that doesn't happen within 2 days. Doesn't happen. This observation adds to Miss Franke, the mother of RF, being present in the home and having knowledge of the abuse, malnourishment, and neglect. Miss Franke requested a lawyer and did not speak with us. With this information and the belief that Miss Franke had knowledge of malnourishment, and neglect, this charge will be enhanced to a second-degree felony. I ask that Miss Franke not be allowed bail due to the severity of the injuries of her 2 kids located in the home and the fact that DCFS has taken 4 of Miss Franke's children into their custody, and I have yet to speak with 2 of them. Wow. Can you imagine being those kids? You have 6 siblings, and then you're just you're apart. So the next victim will be, I guess I'll just call her E. We'll call her EF. Victim EF was found at Jodi Hildebrandt's residence. I'm going to say after RF made contact with the police. EF was found to be malnourished and initially refused medical. So she was under some sort of spell. If you're that, she was 9. So no medical. What do you mean? You're 9 years old. I don't even know if I would know how to say no at 9 years old to somebody that's an officer or, someone EMT. I'd be like, oh yeah, if you need me to go, I need to go. That's sad. After approximately 4 hours, EF agreed. Jodi Hildebrandt was found to be in direct care of Redacted, was determined to be malnourished by a medical professional upon arriving at redacted hospital. Ruby Frank was seen on a YouTube video filmed in Jodi Hildebrandt's downstairs, which was posted 2 days ago. The observation adds to Miss Franke, the mother of RF, being present in the home. I think that might be. I'm not sure which child it was, and having knowledge of the malnourishment and neglect. With this information and the belief that Miss Franke had knowledge of malnourishment, abuse, and neglect, this charge will be enhanced to a second-degree felony. And then I ask, the same thing. Miss Franke not be allowed bail due to the severity of the injuries, and that the fact that DCFS has taken 4 of Miss Franke's children in their custody, and I have yet to speak to 2 of them. So it's the same thing that, charge 1 read. I don't think any of this was important, but I just wanted to read that to you guys to give you a little idea of like what was going on. Basically, her son climbed out of a window and ran for his little life. Could you imagine being that 12 years old? I would be scared. Why are these kids that are like 12, 13, 14 very brave? Were we that brave? We probably were. We were probably brave. I hope I was. I don't know. Like just like Abby and Libby being on the Monon High Bridge. Not a day in my life. I would have crawled across it, but I couldn't. I would never be able to walk across it. That thing was scary. But they just walked, take pictures. I mean, it's amazing. Kids are like, no fear here. So let's see here. So Ruby is expected to go to court tomorrow, and her attorney released a letter, and I'll read that after we play this video, and it gets me fired up. But let's check this out. Yeah, we'll check out the long crime video first. It tells us a little bit about what we're going to expect from her in court tomorrow, and then I'll read the letter, and then I have like another little video for you guys that we'll watch. But does anybody think in this picture, does this picture alone, I don't think she looks like herself. Like, she doesn't even look like Ruby to me. Like, that's just me. I'm like, that's her. Like, I don't know. Like, if you look at all of her other pictures and stuff. So, and also I forgot to tell you guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe up and make sure you have your gifts allowed on, because we are going to be giving out memberships throughout the month of December. We're just doing them at random times and on random lives. So, and thank you guys all for being here. If you don't mind just hitting the like button, if you appreciate the case coverage, that'd be great. And I want to do a timeline of her and Jodi's like friendship and stuff. I need to do a timeline on that. I know that iNabber, he does like documentaries, and I think he does more like celebrity kind of gossip stuff. He did like a 5.5-hour video documentary today on Ruby Franke, and I want to watch it. It's probably pretty good.
Franke back in court for the first time in months. Here's what you need to know about next week's court hearing and what we can expect to see.
The fact that I yell at my kids is a secret. We don't want our viewers to know.
So do you think that that's possible on Monday if they come to some sort of bond agreement that she could be released?
It's possible.
By now, you're familiar with the case of Ruby Franke, the controversial YouTuber mom who's now charged with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse.
But what you guys didn't know was Chad didn't get any room. He didn't get anything. He was sleeping on the floor in the family room.
Here's a quick recap. Franke rose to fame as the matriarch of her family, posting videos of her husband Kevin and their 6 children to her YouTube channel 8 Passengers. Once boasting more than 2 million followers, the page is now defunct. In the past, Franke had caught some flack for her controversial parenting techniques like this one.
And my kids are literally starving.
Fast forward to August 2023 when we hear this shocking 911 call for the first time.
He's emaciated. He's got tape around his legs. He's hungry and he's thirsty.
The call was made from Ivins, Utah by a neighbor of Jodi Hildebrandt. Hildebrandt had been Ruby Franke's business partner, and together they gave self-help advice.
Welcome to Connections. I'm Jodi Hildebrandt. So glad you're with us.
It turns out Franke's son was being held in duct tape shackles. When he broke free, he was emaciated and weak. Both Franke
That kid was like so small as is. Can you imagine starving him? What were they doing? Just starving the kids and they were in the basement and they're upstairs filming for connections? Like, let me tell you how to be a good mom. Don't give your kids presents, give them truth and love for Christmas. Truth and love. If my parents gave me truth and love for Christmas, I would have called CPS on my parents. I'd have been like, there's no food in this house. I'm just kidding. But my parents would never do that. But yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous what she did to her children over their whole lives, pretty much.
Franke and Hildebrandt were later arrested and charged with 6 counts
And
of
we saw it.
aggravated child abuse of peace. For his part, Ruby Franke's husband, Kevin Franke, claims he had no knowledge of this and was several hours north near Salt Lake City at the time. He recently filed for divorce. But let's focus on the future of Franke's case when she's due back in court on December 18th for what's called a preliminary hearing waiver. To make sense of that, we turned to criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Matthew Mangino.
I think at this stage, there's a preliminary hearing that normally would be scheduled. And that preliminary hearing is what is referred to in a lot of places as a probable cause hearing. Is there sufficient evidence for this case to go forward? Now, not everybody charged has a preliminary hearing. You have the opportunity to waive that hearing and let the case proceed. So what you're doing by waiving is you're not admitting guilt. You're simply saying there's sufficient evidence for this case to go forward, and the case goes on to a trial, ultimately pre-trial and things like that. It appears what they're asking is, will Ruby waive this hearing? And if she waives it, will she just acknowledge there's sufficient evidence and let the case move forward in that manner?
So what would be a reason for either side to waive this preliminary hearing? Would it benefit the defense in order to waive this hearing?
Well, it depends what's been going on that we don't know about in this case. There may be plea negotiations that have been ongoing because she's been in jail.
Why would there be any plea negotiations? I'm not comprehending why we would have any plea negotiations when we have the 2 oldest kids. And I hope Chad and Sherry are stepping up to this plate, because it's their time to shine. They've really been advocating for their younger siblings. But why are we even doing a plea deal? Unless she's going to say, I plead guilty to 5 counts of CA instead of 6 counts. I don't get it. If she doesn't get some serious jail time, this is going to be outrageous. Because she'll just make a channel on another platform and talk about this and make money off of this.
Since August 30th. So some time has passed. Normally, preliminary hearings or waivers of preliminary hearings happen very quickly, within weeks of the initial charges. So we have this delay. Has there been some talk going on between the defendant and the prosecutor's office with regard to resolving this? That may be a reason to waive if you've been offered a plea in exchange for waiving and acknowledging guilt. Myself, as a practicing defense attorney and a former prosecutor, I don't like to waive preliminary hearings. I think preliminary hearings are extremely important when you're looking at the total context of the case. It really gives you an opportunity to examine witnesses, to examine evidence. So if you're going forward and you're gonna fight this prosecution, most attorneys are not going to waive a preliminary hearing. I would say one other thing. Sometimes in exchange for a waiver of a preliminary hearing, prosecutors will agree to some bond. Right now, both of the defendants are being held without bond. So maybe there's some agreement. If you waive, we'll let you post bond.
Mangino says from his perspective, it would be wise for the defense to move forward with the preliminary hearing. So if we're talking about waiving the preliminary hearing, if that's something that her defense does decide to do, is it possible that that's a strategy to keep some of the details closer?
Oops. If anyone knows about the law, let me know about this because I didn't know that the defense had any say in a preliminary hearing, or if it would, is it just going to go like instead of the preliminary, it will just go to trial? Or are they saying here that if it doesn't go to preliminary hearing, it's going to go to a grand jury? Like that's what I don't understand that part because I didn't know the defense had any like stake in what happened. I thought it was just the prosecution made all the plans. Like if it was a preliminary or if it was like if they're going to go to the grand jury or if they're just going to go straight to trial. I'm assuming that what they're saying is they'll let her out, probably ankle monitor her up, bunch of bail money, and then she'll have to come back for the trial, just the trial part. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, well, these, they are Ashley. I think so too. There's some, I don't know. There is some love between Jodi and Ruby. I don't know if it's like sexual love or if it's like her so infatuated with Jodi that I don't see the infatuation. I don't see it. But that's just me. Maybe she has some sort of like, maybe she's a smooth operator when she starts to talk. I don't know. When I hear her talk, I just want to turn off everything that's around me. Hey, Ladybug, welcome in. Come on in, everybody. Let me get this here. So let me go play this back for us.
To the vest,
Beautiful
so to speak,
kids.
to the
Beautiful
defense,
kids.
buying themselves more time before trial and all those gory details come out.
Sorry to pause it again so quick. So that's what it does sound like. So it sounds like if she, if the defense like waives or whatever preliminary hearing, it'll go straight to trial. She may be able to get bail, so she doesn't have to sit into jail. So it'll be like a win-win for her in a way. But she's going in and wanting to plead guilty tomorrow, not just waive her preliminary. So there's going to be a lot. It's going to be a big day tomorrow.
Well, that is something that a defense could talk about, could strategize about. I mean, here I think the most important thing is, we don't, although we see a lot of it, we don't try cases in the court of public opinion. So if I were a defense attorney, I want as much information as I can get my hands on as early as possible. If I'm going to try this case, I'm not going to let a single opportunity go by where I can't examine a witness or I can't examine some evidence in this case. What ultimately happens is if you're going to challenge this prosecution, if you're not going to do it at the preliminary hearing, you're going to do it at pre-trial. You're going to file pre-trial motions challenging, whether or not there's sufficient evidence in this case, challenging, the way evidence was collected. We know there, what we do know about this case is come from search warrants. So we know, is there some opportunity to suppress some of the evidence that was obtained through the search warrants or any statements or anything like that. So I don't know if you're going to ultimately challenge this case, how you do it without those gory details, so to speak, being disclosed to the public. And that's really not that bad because ultimately you're not going to try it in public. You're going to try it in front of 12 jurors.
Here at Long Crime Network, we've reached out to both Franke and Hildebrandt's attorneys multiple times, but have repeatedly been denied any interviews. Mangino says that's relatively common and doesn't mean the defense is hiding any details.
I'm not entirely surprised that they don't want to talk to the media at this point. There's a lot going on, I'm sure, behind the scenes that we don't see in this case, whether it's negotiations, whether it's your own investigation. You hire your own private investigators to find out information that might be helpful or exculpatory in this case. So I'm not entirely surprised by that. But again, that's a matter of style, and that's a matter of approach to the preparation of a case. Some lawyers are very flamboyant. They like to come out and they want to talk about it and they want to put this out in front of the public. And other lawyers, as you said, Sierra, they play it closer to the vest. And sometimes that's just a matter of style or strategy. And I don't think we can read a lot into someone who comes out talking and laying it all on the line, or someone who doesn't say much at all as they prepare their case.
And while the topic of a preliminary hearing will be on the table, so too could be the possibility of a plea deal. Is that something that we could expect to see? I mean, if Ruby Franke does decide to take a plea deal, if that's what's been talked about behind the scenes that we, the public, don't know, on Monday, is it possible that we could learn news of this, that she is planning to plea?
Well, this case, has so many moving parts to it. First of all, you have a two defendants who are high profile. They had millions of viewers on their podcasts and their YouTube programs. So they're well known. They have a following, and that sometimes when you have a high profile defendant, that puts a little bit of pressure on the prosecutor's office because there are more eyes on it. I mean, frankly, would we be talking about this case if these two defendants were not high profile YouTubers? Maybe not. So that kind of works into this process. Everybody wants to tread carefully because they don't want to do something that might embarrass them in terms of public perception of how this is handled. But in most cases, 99.9% of cases, there's plea negotiations that go on. And we know, frankly, that 96, 97% of all criminal cases end up in a plea. So, I'm sure there's discussions going on. There always are discussions going on. It's very rare that you don't have plea negotiations going on from the very outset of charges being filed. Again, that might be tempered by the high profile nature of this case. But in my opinion, there have been discussions and there will continue to be discussions.
So let's say on Monday, this December 18th hearing, that it comes out Ruby Franke has decided to plead guilty. There's this plea agreement. We know all of that. Is it possible she could be sentenced right away on that court date?
I wouldn't think so. And I don't even think that she would enter a plea on that date. Now, there could be an agreement
going to.
that a plea is going to be entered, but I don't see that plea being entered, at this point in time. There could be a waiver, as we talked about, and then ongoing negotiations. Sometimes there's other issues that have to be worked out. I would say if there is some ongoing plea negotiations and she waives her hearing in anticipation of a plea, that plea would be handled at a later date. And then there would be a sentencing scheduled later, because what's going to happen is the court is going to want to conduct a pre-sentence investigation. They're going to want, their adult probation office, whatever entity it might be, to conduct that investigation, because they're going to want to know more about Ruby, and they're going to want to know more about Jodi, so that they can, impose a fair sentence and make a decision whether they're going to accept the recommendation of the prosecutor's office. So even though this case, could be near some sort of plea, that's not going to happen for a while, and sentencing is going to be even later.
If a plea deal does come about, Mangino says it's difficult to predict what both sides would agree on.
That's where all the negotiation and sort of it's kind of an art negotiating pleas, because really in most jurisdictions, I practice in Pennsylvania, there are really no guidelines as to how pleas are supposed to be negotiated or how pleas are supposed to be reached. I mean, it's really the discretion of the prosecutor and in how effective the defense is in mitigating the seriousness of a case. It is really truly kind of like an art form, because there are no specific rules that govern how pleas are to be negotiated. These are 6 serious charges, aggravated child abuse. But you also look at things like a criminal history? Has there ever been any criminal activity that Ruby or Jodi have been involved in? You know, what's their sort of standing in the community? You know, have they chronically had problems with law enforcement or licensures or regulations and things like that that have been investigated? So all that is going to come into play here. And that's why a judge is going to want a pre-sentence report before he or she makes any decision in this case, because they just don't know more than what's in that file right now.
As for Monday's hearing, Mangino expects something short and sweet.
I think it'll be short. I think you know, the decision is going to be made. Do you want to have a preliminary hearing? Do you want to test the prosecution's case? Do you want to contest that there isn't probable cause to move forward? Or do you want to accept that there is probable cause at this stage and waive it? And I don't think that's going to take a lot of time, unless the court would say, okay, you know, we're going to roll right into the preliminary hearing immediately. Now, the prosecution would have to be prepared for that, and they'd have to have witnesses and all that. I don't know if that's already done. You know, typically, again, just from my own firsthand knowledge, in Pennsylvania, if you have a preliminary hearing scheduled, you can go to that preliminary hearing that day, have a hearing, or you could waive that hearing. You know, you have to be prepared to go forward with the hearing if the defendant does not intend to waive that hearing. I don't know if Utah has, you know, some sort of preliminary step that you decide if you're going to waive. If you're not going to waive, then the prosecution prepares to have a full preliminary hearing.
And for a future preliminary hearing, it's unclear how long that could take. And when we're talking about preliminary hearings, the one that jumps out to me in my head is Brian Kohberger. That didn't end up happening, but that was supposed to be a very lengthy preliminary hearing. I believe it was 5 days that they had slated for back in the summer. So I'm wondering, for a case like this, I know it's different charges, but it is still some pretty severe charges with this aggravated child abuse. Would a preliminary hearing be short, an afternoon, or could it stretch multiple days? What could we expect if they do go to preliminary hearing?
Well, again, it would depend on sort of the strategy of the prosecution, because at a preliminary hearing, as I mentioned earlier, the burden of proof is, you know, is it more likely than not a crime was committed and that this defendant committed that crime? That's far less than what's required at trial beyond a reasonable doubt. So again, going back in my own experience as a prosecutor, I always intended to put the minimum amount of evidence on that I could to prove probable cause. Again, because I don't want to give too much information too early to the defense.
So did you hear that? Because I kind of can apply with the Idaho case. They just said they only put in enough to get the dude arrested or the woman arrested, whoever arrested, but they don't want to put in some of their bigger pieces of evidence just because they want to save that for trial. So maybe just put that in your hat and just, I don't know. We'll go back and we'll let him say it again. But yeah, he said that some up like the probable cause, like he only puts like a little bit in there. Let's see.
Intended to put the minimum. So again, going back in my own experience as a prosecutor, I always intended to put the minimum amount of evidence on that I could to prove probable cause. Again, because I don't want to give too much information too early to the defense. So if I felt I could prove, I could show that I had probable cause with 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses, that's all the witnesses I would call. I wouldn't put my whole case on at the preliminary hearing, and most prosecutors don't. I wouldn't foresee this being an extensive days-long preliminary hearing. But again, I don't know what the strategy is necessarily of the prosecutors in Utah and how much evidence they would put on. But typically, I would put on just enough evidence to prove probable cause. far from the evidence that I'm going to use to prove a guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Mangino's major takeaway, though, is that Ruby Franke could soon be released from jail.
Is they've been sitting in jail for 3 months. This isn't a first-degree murder case, and I don't know. This is Ruby's children.
It should be the same punishment to me. You do this to a child. This is this is lifelong. Lifelong. They're not going to forget about this shit. They're not going to forget about this when they're an adult. They're going to remember what their mom did to them when they were 12 years old and 9 years old and younger. And the older kids that are 18 to 20, 14, they have kids that are, I think she's 10 now. So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Every 2 years they have a kid. Like clockwork. It's kind of strange.
Know that she's a
kids don't forget
to
you're
others. Right. I would.
The therapy is lifetime.
Want to get my client out of jail if I could. Pending trial, it makes it easier to prepare for trial. And sometimes you might give up that preliminary hearing to do that, and that could be a strategy as well.
Ruby Franke's hearing is set for December 18th.
I didn't know turn my camera off. Sorry about that. So yeah, Ruby Franke's court date is tomorrow, but she is going to be entering a plea. As far as we know, let me see. Let me see something really quick. Oh, I didn't mean to put that in there. I wanted to look something up. So I have a statement from Ruby. First time she is spoken out since everything's gone on. So she's speaking through her attorney. This is from her attorney's office. And just the red flags are here. I'm just going to say that before I read the statement. If you need to pour yourself like some tequila or vodka, a little drink, you might want to do that because it's ridiculous. The statement is. Windward Law. Actually, you know what? We should look up Windward Law too. Let me put that in there. I wonder what kind of law firm this is. You know what I'm saying? So we'll look them up too. Windward Law is making a statement on behalf of Ruby Franke regarding the pending charges in the Washington County 5th District Court, along with her thoughts about her current family situation. Our client is working with the prosecutor's office and anticipates resolving this matter quickly by entering a plea agreement with the court on Monday, December 18th. So she will be entering a plea. Ruby Franke is a devoted mother and is also a woman committed to constant improvement. Before I say anything, you can't go to jail for 3 months and you're reborn. You found God. You're clean. You're good. You'll never do it again. 3 months doesn't do that. I'm sorry. What she's done to her children is going to take a lifetime to unravel and figure out what's wrong with her and to realize what she's, why she did this to her children. She needs to be locked up. Initially, Ms. Franke believed that Jodi Hildebrandt had the insight to offer a path to continual improvement. Ms. Hildebrandt took advantage of this quest and twisted it into something heinous. She's putting the blame on Jodi. Over an extended period, Ms. Hildebrandt systematically isolated Ruby Franke from her extended family, older children, and her husband, Kevin Franke. Her older children don't want nothing to do with her. It had nothing to do with Jodi. This prolonged isolation resulted in, hold on 1 second. She was pulled over. What was it, 2 months before this? Or not so long before this. Not very long before this happened. And she was with her children. She was by herself out of Jodi's freaking sight with their kids in the car. So how were you isolated and kept captive? Because we saw you on police body cam with their kids in the car. You could have taken off and went home. I just thought of that. Wait a second. Yeah, it was a week. I knew it was really soon, Nikki. Yeah. I'm gonna look at that body cam again. because we saw there was like a little one in there. Like he wasn't, I think it was the little boy, but it wasn't like someone that was super little, but like a baby or a toddler, but we knew it was like a kid. What? Yeah. Is this judge going to accept this crap? Like, because it seems like usually if you are going to put out a letter as a lawyer, it's already like signed, sealed, delivered deal. You just have to kind of go in, walk in and do the like legalities of it, you know? So does the judge already know all this? And he said it was good. And that's, he could, like, I don't know what she's going to plead to, but wow. Unless she's, I mean, she better just go in there and plead to 6 charges of CA. Then she can say that's all she wants, you know, but wow. Says this prolonged isolation resulted in Miss Franke being subjected to a distorted sense of morality shaped by Miss Hildebrandt's influence. During Ruby Franke's incarceration in Washington County Jail over the past few months, she has actively engaged in an introspection, which has allowed her to reset her moral compass and understands the full weight of her actions. She's sorry. She wants to go home now. That's what she's saying. Miss Franke is committed to taking responsibility for the part she played in the events leading up to her incarceration. All of them better. All 6 counts. That's not, there's something going on. Demonstrating a sincere dedication to personal growth and rehabilitation, she has actively begun the process by reaching out to members of her family. Wonder if anyone's answered. Through heartfelt apologies, she seeks to mend relationships and contribute positively to the healing journey of her family. Well, when you're in jail, all you have is time. So she could write 1,000 letters a day and say, look at all these letters I wrote. I'm trying to grow. You ain't got nothing more time. When you're in jail, honey, what are you going to do? You got a pen and paper. Of course she's writing letters. I should be a judge. I should be a judge. I would be a no-nonsense judge. I really would. This is crazy to me. Like, I mean, just like this is common sense. Ruby Franke is aware that Kevin Franke has filed for divorce. While she's devastated by this news, she kicked him to the curb. She was not brainwashed when she did that. I'm sorry. She acknowledges and understands his anger and reasoning. Despite the pain, she respects his decisions and remains hopeful that with time, she can contribute to rebuilding trust and fostering understanding within their family. Ruby has offered her full cooperation to help the children reunite with their father. He better not. I hope that he doesn't. I mean, if he gets those kids back, that's just really, and that's a really, and we failed. We absolutely failed. If Kevin gets these kids back, we all failed. Like, court failed, police failed, system failed, children's services failed, YouTube failed, the news media failed. Everybody that could be doing something failed. Because these are like, oh my God. 4 kids. No, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. And he was there during the abuse. We saw that online. It's on videotape, guys. What? Does the judge not like want to watch some YouTube videos or something? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate it. You have a good evening. Have a good night. We're here usually 8:15 p.m. every evening, talking a different case every night. Sometimes we talk about the same case a couple of days in a row. Windward Law recognizes the profound love that Ms. Franke holds for her children, and we are genuinely saddened that she found herself on the challenging path under the influence of Ms. Hildebrandt. It is our firm belief that Ms. Franke is a devoted mother who unfortunately was led astray. She is sincere in her commitment to securing the best possible future for her family and will remain hopeful that the right support and understanding she can navigate a path of healing and growth. This sounds like a bad YouTube video, like a bad YouTube apology. I feel like I should have been sitting in front of my bed reading this to you guys with a ukulele. This is the worst letter I've ever read. This is like, I want to punch the guy that wrote this in the face. You know what I mean? For even writing this. Like, really? What are you doing? What are you doing? She's just in and out. I think Cheryl. I think she only had one, like wrote one message. I don't even know. I don't even know if he was buckled in at all. I don't know what he was. I think he was just like sitting back. We couldn't really see him in the body cam. Let me see if I can pull that up. Body cam. Ruby Frankie. Because it wasn't like where you could really see a whole lot, but let's see. Here we go. I think I found it. This is it. Yeah, okay. There we go. And then it looks like they're going to play it here. It's really short. You could barely see like the little head in the back, but let's see who we can see in the front. So there was somebody in the front seat, obviously, if somebody's sitting in the back seat, you know.
YouTuber Ruby Frankie was pulled over on a traffic
Oh,
stop.
shoot.
Well, why is this relevant?
I'll let it play through.
We go through the court process is
And then-
relevant. This happened 5 days before her arrest pertaining to those child abuse charges with her business partner, Jodi Hildebrandt. Take a listen.
Hello. You know how fast you're going right there? No. Okay. Got you going 57 and a 35. I'll be back real quick. Okay. Here's your info back.
Actually, I don't know who that is in the front seat.
A citation for speed.
It could be Jodi. I don't know.
I wrote you down for 50. You have 5 days and no more 14 to contact Santa Clara Justice Court. It shows right there in that little box right there. And then just has a phone number right there. Okay, any questions for me? Okay, just slow down for me, please.
All right, that's a very standard traffic stop. Obviously, we cut out the middle because he goes through and runs for valid, check for warrants, check for valid license, all that thing.
So someone's definitely in the front seat. I thought I saw someone in the back, but that time I really didn't see. Oh, she did, Jen. I noticed. I saw some in the beginning that Jenny made, but I just saw the one there, so I thought maybe. If you're here, Jenny, show yourself, girl. Yeah, all messages. You think it was the girls in the car? So Bullseye, that's a good idea. Yeah, I mean, it could have been, definitely. So you would think if she had, I mean, I know if you're brainwashed, you're not going to tell the officers you're brainwashed because you're brainwashed. But let's say she knew she was in she needed help or something, or her children needed help. There's an officer right there. Like, come on, officer, come with me. And I love your little avatar. Let me put that up. That's really cute. Oh, that's so cute. And I like your name. You want me to play it again? I can play it again. So let's see if we can see let's see if we see anything. For some reason, I could have sworn I saw someone in the back seat before. But now I'm not as positive. Okay.
Charges with her business partner, Jodi Hildebrandt. Take a listen.
Hello. You know how fast you're going right there? No. Okay. Got you going 57 and a 35. I'll be back real quick.
Does it look like a guy to you? Like, I don't know.
A citation for speed. Got you going 57 and a 35. I wrote you down for a 50. You have 5 days and no more 14 to contact Santa Clara Justice Court. It shows right there in that little box right there. And then just has a phone number right there. Okay, any questions for me? Okay, just slow down for me, please.
All right, that's a very...
Now, I will admit, she didn't even look over at the officer. That's kind of weird. Like, I don't want to say she was brainwashed or anything, but you know what I mean? Like, she was just like looking and kind of like stone-faced. You thought, like, yourself, yeah, I thought it looked like an older gentleman or something. I'm gonna go back. Like, why did I think of like? So I'm gonna see if I can pause it like right there. Where's he at? Of course, that thing's in the way. Let me see.
You have 5 days and no more 14 to contact Santa Clara Justice Court. It shows right there in that little box right there.
I might have went too far.
Just has a phone number right there. Okay, any questions for me? Okay, just slow down for me, please.
All right, that's a very
I didn't get it. That's why I'm a bit. It does look like an older gentleman or something. Well, I don't say a gentleman, but older guy. They're like right here. You can see it in like the corner, but does that look like an older guy to you? Yeah. USA Kiwi. It was really early in the morning hours when this happened. It almost looks like an older guy. Not Kevin. Could be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just something that we're seeing, like, because we're trying to see something, like visualize something. Wish I could blow that little spot up. So the little boy is a teenager. He's 12. I don't know. Why would she be out there with her dad, though, that early in the morning? It was real early. So, yeah, it looks like 4:11. This was 8:25. So this was 5 days before she was arrested. Maybe this was her plan. I don't know. Maybe she just was acting like that, but that's weird. Doodlebug said we need Zap. I know she is good at blowing stuff up. I think she uses she uses Streamlabs. So I use StreamYard and she uses Streamlabs. And with Streamlabs, you can do all kinds of really, really cool things, but it's so hard to learn. I think it is hard to learn. It looks hard to learn to me. So I haven't done it. Where's Taylor and why wasn't there? I know. I told Vincent I need to go out to Idaho and set up a camera and for that demolition. I was like, do you know like how many people we would be watching that? Because I know that's what we will be watching come 10 a.m. in the morning on the 28th they're doing that? So Thursday, yeah, we'll have an early live. Put up a pic of Kevin. Okay. It kind of does look like Kevin to me, but now he's saying that they haven't seen each other. So I don't know who's in the car. Like, because if he's saying that they hadn't seen each other in 13 months, but that looks like a dude. Let's see. I'm trying to get. It does kind of look like this dude. Wait, hold on. That's not a good picture. This is a video. This is a weird picture. I'll get you a better one, but that kind of looks like the dude. I mean, it does look kind of like Kevin in the picture. I'm trying to find. He looks a little bit different there. Let me see. There's this one. Let me get him where he's not like so professional. Maybe like this picture with her. I don't know. There we go. So that's him. Maybe. Secret booty call, maybe. Yeah, because I mean, like, what do you do at 4 a.m.? You're a Mormon woman, like very set in her faith, that is very judgmental on any parent that does anything that's outside of like, you literally have to be either crazy or like, I don't know, for the parenting skills that she wants people to have. She's just very like, I don't know, what would she be doing out of 4 a.m.? Like, what are you doing now, girl? What you doing? What you doing out of 4 a.m.? Driving around, just driving around. Probably maybe meeting up Kohlberger. You saw the person in an earlier frame? I wonder. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's kind of distorted. I wonder if that's him. Just driving around. Maybe they're meeting up. He's storm chasing. Oh, Therese, I could understand the flying. Yeah, it gets expensive. We fly to LA like Labor Day weekend every year. It's expensive. I'm like, why do we have to go on Labor Day weekend? She was going between houses, long drive. Yeah. I'm wondering what road it was on. Like, I'm wondering where she was heading. I wonder if we'll ever find out. So Law and Crime did come out with a new video tonight. I think I got to listen to this. Yeah, I did. I was over at the store. Oh, let me escape out of that. So we'll listen to this. So Ruby is going to enter a guilty plea tomorrow. She's going to blame Joe. So, okay. There has to be a plea agreement going on for her to be going in and pleading guilty tomorrow. So whatever it is, we'll find out. But she's going to blame Jodi for everything when she goes in there. I hope this judge I hope he's I hope they're smart. I hope it's a smart guy or girl. You know, I hope they're smart. They have common sense and they see they don't even need to see before. But they need to see that she's the mother of these two children. Like, these two children are hers alone. And she is responsible for her children. Jodi isn't responsible for her children. Ruby is responsible for her children. Just saying, you know what I mean? Just saying. Not if I was a judge, that's exactly what I'd say. I say, what are you even doing in here? Why are you even arguing this with me? I don't got time to hear you do the blame game. You're both in the wrong and you're both going to jail. That's what I mean. Look at the kids. Look at the evidence. Look at the kids. I'm sure I'm sure those kids have done interviews, and I'm sure that they've done interviews with investigators that are trained to, you know, interview children in these kind of situations. And those kids probably let the floodgates open. We may hear things that we didn't even know about tomorrow. We've seen things online that make us cringe, make us not even want to watch. Can you imagine the shit that she had that she didn't put online? She did all the editing, all of the everything for the videos. So can you imagine the stuff that she edited out? Like, I mean, she was putting that in. Putting in that she was making her teenage son that's growing, like he's constantly growing, sleep on a beanbag chair in the living room. He didn't even have a bedroom, y'all. He had no privacy. Could you imagine being a teenager and not being able to go and slam that bedroom door when you were mad at your parents? That's like, you know, nostalgic now. Like, not being able just to go and just be alone and not be on camera. Maybe that would be nice for him. You know, maybe he wanted just like, he's a boy, a teenage boy, some time alone, you know, not Ruby's house, just the beanbag chair, just sit on the beanbag. You're fine. I want to see this beanbag chair. Is it like one of those like big ones, or is it like, I mean, I don't care either way, but I'm just wondering, really, it's going to be that cold? You guys are going to be freezing. Yeah, I want to stream if it's public. I haven't heard if it's going to be or not. I think they're keeping everything like sealed with that part of it. But I know that we'll hear like what kind of time she's going to get. Like, that stuff will have to be told, you know. So we'll listen to this and maybe they'll help us understand tomorrow's court proceeding. Because I mean, she has to be walking in knowing what she's getting, and for her to be pleading guilty this early on. You know, like, they might say, hey, Ruby, you know, you are going to get 15 years on each count. If you serve 15 years altogether, or, you know, 10 years or whatever it is, we'll knock off all those other charges. But you have to come in and plead guilty. You can't come in and plead no contest or not guilty. You have to plead guilty, and you have to tell us what your role was and your involvement was in the crime. And then that's when she's going to say, Jodi did it all. Like, mark my words.
Franke about a week ago, and I said, hey, anything coming down the pike you want to let us know about? Obviously, we've been following the case. And they said, we hope to have a statement in the next few weeks.
And what a statement it was. We have just learned that accused child abuser Ruby Franke is planning to enter into a plea deal in her criminal case. We're going to break it down. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Well, hello there, everybody. We are doing a special bonus Sidebar episode here on the weekend. You might be saying, why are we doing this here on the weekend? That is because we were hit with this bombshell on Friday night in the Ruby Franke case out of Utah. And that is that according to Franke's lawyers, she plans to enter into a plea agreement on Monday. Think about that. We've been covering this case for 3 months. So this is a major, major development, and actually something that we talked about on a previous sidebar. Before we even get into that, quick recap about the case and how we got here. So Ruby Franke is the former creator and star of her now defunct YouTube channel called 8 Passengers. She started it with her husband, Kevin Franke. It documented their lives. It documented their lives as parents of their 6 children. And while the channel was extremely popular and boasted over 2 million subscribers, it became very controversial when you hear some of the parenting techniques and advice of Ruby Franke.
However, listening to all of your comments and your feedback, I think I understand where some people are coming from. They're like, oh, the parents don't give their kids beds. And I totally agree with that. I know there are lots of children out there whose parents are neglectful. We got accused of child abuse when we sent Chad to Anasazi. Guess what? The first thing that they did was take a bed away. They don't have beds. So Chad slept on the hard ground for months, and it's run by psychologists and therapists. And if not having a bed was psychologically damaging, then they wouldn't have suggested that.
And we have come to learn in our research and covering this case that Ruby and Kevin have separated. They've been not together for over a year. And Ruby started working with a woman named Jodi Hildebrandt, kind of like a self-help counselor. They worked together at this organization known as Connections. Ruby was listed as a certified mental fitness trainer. So she's in this business with Jodi, separated from her husband, and then you fast forward to August of this year. She and Jodi, her business partner, are each arrested and charged with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse of Franke's 2 young children. They were staying at Hildebrandt's place. Her 12-year-old son managed to escape Hildebrandt's home, ran to a neighbor who called 911. The boy was reportedly emaciated with wounds. There was evidence that he had been tied up. His 10-year-old sister, Ruby's daughter, was reportedly found in the house in similar condition. She was taken to the hospital to be treated for malnourishment. Ruby and Jodi, they were each charged with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse. And it ranges from everything from physical torture to injuries that result in emotional harm to starvation and so on. And it was our understanding that each one of those aggravated child abuse counts carried a max of 15 years in prison. Now, I spoke with Brian Schnee, who's been following this case since the very beginning. Brian Schnee is a reporter and anchor from KUTV2 News. And we had been talking I think it was last week, about how prosecutors requested a court hearing for December 18th. It was called a waiver hearing, and it was to see whether a defendant in Utah waives the preliminary hearing. The preliminary hearing is where prosecutors lay out their evidence to a judge to determine if there's sufficient probable cause to move forward in the case. A defendant in Utah has.
Now, the only thing that I could think of, the only reason why I could think of why they would skip a preliminary hearing is if she already knows she's guilty of sin and she doesn't need to see the evidence against her. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I was sitting in jail and I had an option of a preliminary hearing or a trial, like, I would want to go to the preliminary hearing first. I would want to see, like, what are you working with over there? What do you guys have? And then maybe, see if I wanted to waive the right, I don't know, or I guess if you're already in preliminary, you can't waive it. But I mean, I would probably do a preliminary because I would want to see. Unless I was guilty, then I would want to waive it, because then you get out of jail, you get some freedom before you go back for trial when you know you're screwed. So, Jan has a party tomorrow, did she say? I thought I saw that. If you do, there it is. Okay, I couldn't find the thing. Christmas party? Okay, no, it's fine. Have a good time. Have a good time.
As the ability.
I might try to come on at 7:15 tomorrow, but you know how I am.
One of the things Brian and I speculated about was whether this could mean that there is a plea deal in the works. And
there is.
Actually
Has to be.
An email he received from Ruby Franke's lawyers.
I do want to read you that email.
before he reads the email. I'm just telling y'all, she is not walking in there tomorrow without knowing what's going on. She is not going to walk in there. She's not sitting in jail right now not knowing what's going on tomorrow saying, I'm going to plead guilty because I'm guilty and I should take my punishment. No, there ain't a criminal out there that will do that. They're one in a zillion. You know what I mean? Really. So they've been working behind the scenes. Something's going on. I want to know what it is. I want to know what it is. Dinner 6 to 8. Oh, I hope you have fun tomorrow, Jan. That sounds like fun. I used to have Christmas parties when I worked outside the home. Now I want to get employees so I can have some Christmas parties.
Please.
Because I do have it in front of me. So this was dated Wednesday, November 29th. So we're looking more than a week now when I last was able to hear back from Lamar Windward's crew there in St. George, Utah. Our firm will be making a statement in the upcoming weeks or so on Miss Franke's behalf. We are hopeful to reach a resolution shortly and will reach out with a statement. So when I heard waiver hearing, and then that's in my brain, waiver hearing could be more significant than anything else that we've seen so far and could, in theory, wrap this whole thing up.
Okay. So now you fast forward to last night, Friday, December 15th, and Windward Law, again, the firm representing Ruby Franke, releases a statement that she is planning to enter into a plea agreement. I'm going to go through the statement with you. We'll break it down. So first it says Windward Law is making a statement on behalf of Ruby Franke regarding the pending charges in the Washington County 5th District Court, along with her thoughts about her current family situation. Our client is working with the prosecutor's office and anticipates resolving this matter quickly by entering a plea agreement with the court on Monday, December 18th. Wow. So that part is key, right? Because there seems to be an agreement that has been worked out between Franke and the prosecutor's office. It's not like they're just putting off this offer. There has been negotiations behind the scenes. And I wonder if that means little to no prison time as a part of this. Why would Ruby agree to this? I got to tell you, I would be quite surprised if prosecutors would allow Franke to stay out of prison altogether, given that they accuse her of starving and torturing her children. Now, it could be that they decided maybe to drop a charge, or they don't feel that they have enough to prove a certain aspect of this case, or maybe they do have the goods. Maybe they can prove all 6 charges, but in the interest of saving time and money and the heartache of a trial, after all, it seems to me that her kids would have to testify against her, and that can be incredibly overwhelming and difficult for those young children. Maybe she decided to plead guilty to all of the charges, but her punishment maybe won't be as severe as multiple years in prison, multiple years behind bars. But that does lead me to the next point of this statement. It goes on to say, Ruby Franke is a devoted mother and is also a woman committed to constant improvement. Initially, Miss Franke believed that Jodi Hildebrandt had the insight to offer a path to continual improvement. Miss Hildebrandt took advantage of this quest and twisted it into something heinous. Over an extended period, Miss Hildebrandt systematically isolated Ruby Franke from her extended family, older children, and her husband, Kevin Franke. This prolonged isolation resulted in Miss Franke being subjected to a distorted sense of morality, shaped by Miss Hildebrandt's influence. Wow. So Ruby Franke is officially turning on Jodi Hildebrandt. It seems to me that she may have agreed to be a witness against Jodi Hildebrandt at her trial, right? Testify against her. Now, I can't say I'm not surprised by that, considering in our coverage of this case, specifically when we had the opportunity to interview Jessie Hildebrandt, Jodi Hildebrandt's niece, they said that they were abused by Jodi, and those allegations are very consistent with what we just heard from this statement.
And she would tell me all the time, if you just confess, I will stop. You confess, I will stop, which is torture. Jodi is very smart in how she approaches her therapeutic modalities because they are so extreme. If she were just to start out with those things, everyone would recognize it and they would be shocked and it'd be like, absolutely not. But she's very subtle. She's very subtle and she's very calculated. So she strips you of identity, she strips you of credibility, and she isolates. And so she's saying everything that you say is a lie. Everything that you say is manipulation. You're manipulating everyone around you. You're lying and destroying everyone's life.
So that idea of manipulation and isolation, that is very consistent with what Ruby is now claiming through her lawyers. By the way, we're going to get back to this in a second, but honestly, this is really disturbing stuff. And the cases that we cover on Sidebar just show that the world is not always safe. It can be scary. And I actually want to take a minute then to talk now about the sponsor of this video, Morgan & Morgan. We always appreciate their support.
We're
Because
going
one
to
of the
fast forward this part.
scariest things in life can be if you get hurt and you don't
We don't need Morgan details. Sorry, Jesse.
Ruby Franke, though, this statement from her lawyer continues, and it says, quote, during Ruby Franke's incarceration in Washington County Jail over the past few months, she has actively engaged in an introspection that has allowed her to reset her moral compass and understand the full weight of her actions. Miss Franke is committed to taking responsibility for the part she played in the events leading up to her incarceration. Demonstrating a sincere dedication to personal growth and rehabilitation, she has actively begun the process by reaching out to members of her family. Through heartfelt apologies, she seeks to mend relationships and contribute positively to the healing journey of her family. So that signals to me a few things. First, from the legal point of view, it's kind of like a time served argument, right? Because whatever deal she ends up working out with prosecutors, if someone looks at that and says that doesn't seem like significant prison time, it seems based on this statement that she's saying, well, she's already served some time behind bars for what she did for these allegations. Now, from a human point of view, it's really a 180 from Ruby Franke, who had been defending her parenting techniques for so long. This idea that she's trying to be a part of her family again, understands what she did was wrong. But also, we have to remember that as much as she seems to be accepting what she did, she's also accused of abusing her children and maybe feeling the weight of these charges, the gravity of the case, the gravity that she could spend years behind bars. So someone might be a little skeptical of what she's saying right now. But the next part of the lawyer's statement actually addresses Kevin filing for divorce. It says, quote, Ruby is aware that Kevin Franke has filed for divorce. While she is devastated by this news, she acknowledges and understands his anger and reasoning. Despite the pain, she respects his decisions and remains hopeful that with time, she can contribute to rebuilding trust and fostering understanding within their family. Ruby has offered her full cooperation to help the children reunite with their father. Again, wow. So it doesn't seem like this is going to be a contentious divorce, at least from that statement. And when we spoke to Kevin's attorney, Randy Kester, he said Ruby was probably expecting this divorce, but he said that the reason for the problems in the marriage was Jodi.
She was the one recommending to almost a majority of her clients that in order to repair their families and repair their marriages, they needed to be separated. They needed to live apart because in her view, Kevin was lustful and Kevin was greedy and Kevin was self-absorbed. None of which was true. But through her therapeutic manipulation, she convinced him that he has characteristics and that if he stayed at home, he was going to poison the family.
It's a little bit different than our prior conversation, because my understanding was it was Ruby's decision that Kevin lived separately. Now it sounds like it was Jodi's decision, or is it Ruby through Jodi? Just so I understand.
It was Ruby through Jodi because Jodi was giving Ruby advice also that was not helpful.
Yeah, again, so Ruby putting blame on Jodi is consistent with Randy's account there. But in this statement, and it was kind of subtle, Ruby is going to be helping to make sure that Kevin, seems to me, gets custody of the kids, right? If that's the case, the way I read it, maybe she is going to spend some time behind bars for a little bit, and someone needs to take care of these kids. And finally, the statement ends with, quote, Windward Law recognizes the profound love that Miss Franke holds for her children, and we are genuinely saddened that she found herself on this challenging path under the influence of Miss Hildebrandt. It is our firm belief that Miss Franke is a devoted mother who unfortunately was led astray. She is sincere in her commitment to securing the best possible future for her family, and we remain hopeful that with the right support and understanding, she can navigate a path of healing and growth. again, putting all the blame on Hildebrandt, accepting responsibility. I will say it is interesting that there is not a downright clear confession, a clear acknowledgement of what she did, right? Not a confession to abusing her children. And there's a reason for that, because as we know, plea deals, they can always blow up the last minute. So her attorney has to be careful about public statements made before an actual plea deal is entered and accepted by the court. It has to be accepted by the court. Let's not forget that. But what this does do for Jodi is interesting. I mentioned how Ruby has this hearing Monday, but Jodi has her waiver hearing scheduled for December 27th. Prosecutors asked for 2 separate hearings. Is she going to try to take a deal? Has she tried? Will prosecutors not accept a deal? Do they want to go for a full prosecution against Jodi Hildebrandt? Again, then you'd have the kids testifying, so that makes it difficult. But is she the one that they really want to get? After all, there have been allegations against Jodi that she ruined families' lives based on her teachings and advice. If she is the top of this criminal master, if she's the criminal mastermind, then maybe they want to ultimately prosecute her. And with Ruby's testimony, that would definitely change the game. But like I said, Ruby's hearing is scheduled for this Monday in St. George's 5th District Court. We will definitely follow what happens in this case. All right, everybody, that is all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, on this bonus episode of Sidebar. We very much appreciate you joining us.
Okay, that was just. Okay, hold on one sec, guys. Fix my chair here. I think I've got to get a new chair. It's so bad. Let me get back on the screen here for you guys so you can see me. Get Jesse off of there. So Ruby's going to go to court tomorrow. So she'll be in court tomorrow. I don't know if it's tomorrow morning. I'm assuming tomorrow morning. Everything that is in her case with that pertains to the, CA charge, which they threw the speeding or whatever that was, speeding charge, they threw that out. So anything pertaining to the CA charge is all like under seal, but I have a feeling that we would know if she pleads guilty, what kind of time she would be looking at. Like if they did sentencing that day, which they said that they don't think that she would. And you guys are so funny in the chat. I was laughing. It's so funny. I know, Jan. He said something today about, do I like, are white chairs cool? And I was like, I like white. I think I want to get a standing desk. I think that's my problem. Like I have curves in my back. And so I think I just don't like to sit. I'm a mover and a groover. If I could move you guys around with me and I could like clean my house or like do stuff like that, I'd have you guys on live with me all the time. I could, I guess, do that with my phone, but I'm not very good with my phone. I don't even know how to chat in a live chat with my phone. Don't judge me. So yeah, I need a new desk too from Santa. Huh? You have one? I really want a standing desk. Like this one's really nice that I have. It's like a big wooden one. It's like an L shape. It's huge. But it's just a little too big, I think. And I think I need to stand. I want a walking pad too. So I want to get a walking pad and eventually, get a standing desk, walking pad, and then a different chair. And then we'll be good. We'll be grooving. And I need to get a new laptop. And I just got that a couple years ago. But my screen is like doing funky stuff. I know. That's what I was thinking, actually. I was thinking about getting like a P.O. box or something. Or like sending stuff to Vincent's work. Like, here, send it to your work. Because, it would just go to him. But I thought about that. We can, yes. I like to stand. I'm a stander. I like to stand. I just like, actually the doctor told me when I was a spine doctor last time, not to sit for longer than an hour, even if I'm in the car. He's like, pull over and just get up for a minute. So yeah, like a pen pal thing. Yes. Cause it's always like nice to get stuff, like cards and stuff. I love that. I love getting things like that. I'm a card person. Actually, I had some cards I thought earlier. I was doing cards, Christmas cards. But that's all I have for you guys for this one. I'll follow up tomorrow and let you guys know exactly like what I hear because I'll be wondering now. You're a standard 2DM, me too. I'm a standard. That's why I'm always like shifting around. I feel like I'm always moving in the chair, but it's just my lower back. And I got one of those massage chairs yesterday at the mall. Vincent went to get a massage at the mall. And last time I got a massage at the mall, like I used to love it. But I have something going on with my nerves. So every time this woman touched me last time, it hurt so bad. Like it didn't hurt though. It was weird. It was like nerve pain. It wasn't like physical pain, but nerve pain equals like mental anguish because I'm like, oh my God, she's touching me. She won't stop touching me. And I didn't want to tell her to stop. I felt bad if I told her to stop. You know, it's one of those situations. So I was like, next time I'm just going to get in the chair so I can move if I want to. I do have sciatica really bad. I know that that's part of it. And the doctor told me I had curves in my back. He's like, you have one in the middle, one in my lower left, my upper right. Yeah, lower left, upper right. They didn't catch them when I was younger, I guess, he said. And since I'm over the age of 26, you can't repair them. And I'm like, oh, So I just really need to like stretch and stuff. I just need to stretch. But me getting on the floor to stretch is like, it's crazy because I have two crazy dogs and they just jump on me. Oh, start eating, like standing eating. Yeah. We do that actually a lot here. We stand and eat a lot. I've had sciatica probably for years. It's bad. It's real bad. Like Vincent will just like give me massages. He'll try to help, but I need to go to chiropractor and stuff. I really do. I really, really do. But I don't have time right now. Just kidding. I'm gonna make time. I was looking over this payment thing that I made. So I was looking over the Chelsea Grimm. What was it? I'm getting the FOIA request, but I sent the payment and everything in. It looks like on the 7th. Yeah, right here, payment date 12/7. So it's been a while because I'm like, dang, it's been like almost 2 weeks. So hopefully they'll get that sent to us. I know that someone was like asking like why we were getting the FOIA request. And hello, we want to read them. We want to read what's going on because there was a lot of stuff, you know, that's in there that I think that's going to be pretty valuable in helping maybe locate her or at least getting us a better idea and understanding of what maybe happened to her. So, Gaylord, let me see. Are you talking about the little boy that we covered, Preston? Preston Lord? I haven't looked up Gaylord or what's his name? Gaynor Lord. I need to look up that name. I've heard a couple people doing it. I've heard of people covering him. If you don't watch, I believe Michelle I don't know if it's Michelle After Dark or Michelle Walks. She has 2 channels. I think it's on her Michelle Walks channel. She's been covering it since when he was missing. I don't really know a whole lot about that case, but I need to look it up. I'm telling you, tomorrow I'm going to sit in here and I'm going to go through all of these Post-it notes. I have more. And I'm going to like, look at this. It's so bad. I've got like these. I've got these. And then I've got like a couple pages back here of these and these. This is just from this weekend. So I'm going to get back to everybody with my stuff. I wrote all the notes down. Yeah, it's from the UK. I knew that because that's why I think Michelle Walks is covering it because she's from the UK. Let me double check for you because I mean, if you guys want to like see some coverage now instead of like waiting on me to, because we could cover it. I mean, even tomorrow, if you guys wanted to. But I want to see if let me see, Michelle. I think it was her. I think that's the name of it. I follow her. Yeah. Okay, it's Michelle After Dark. She has it on her channel. Wow. Okay, so I don't really know the story. I'm gonna have to look it up now. Okay, I'm curious. Okay. Crime analysis. Do they have it too? I've never heard of them. Let's see. Oh, wait, that's. Is it a girl? Oopsie. I don't know if this is her. I was trying to look it up. Oh, yeah, I see her now. Okay, yeah. Crime analyst. Laura Richards. Okay, yeah. I'll look it up. Okay. She's retired Scotland Yard. Okay. It's awesome. I'm sorry. I was like, oh, I'm all on the camera because I'm like, my vision's not the greatest. I'm probably really up in the camera. That's funny. Just wait a few more years, I'll really be up there. Okay, yeah, I'll look into that. I want to know. What's going on. I'm curious. I'm really curious to know. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty big case. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm reading. I'm like reading as I'm like looking at the chat. Oh, I haven't heard of that one either. Hashtag degree. Oh, let me put case. Okay. More. Let me make sure I got the. We're gonna have two with the last name is Lord. That's eerie. And then you said one. I'm gonna write that down. Nicola Bully vibes, really? Oh gosh, I didn't cover that case, but I know about it. What was the other one? Oh, here it is. Aisha degree. There's a couple cases that I've but we've covered that I'm the same way. I can't get over them. Let me see. Oh, fibromyalgia and sciatica the last year. 5 surgeries. Oh, please don't tell me that. You fractured your femur on your first time. No, I'm out of here. I have metal rods in both my tibias, and I'm so thankful that I didn't break my femur. I don't know why it makes a difference to me, but because a bone's a bone in the leg, but it's not a bone. A bone is not just a bone in the leg. That one is huge, and it's your upper leg. I don't know how to explain it. You really can't do nothing if you break your femur. You got to put the whole leg in a cast. At least if you have a tibia fracture, fractures, you can wear like a smaller cast and walk around. You have that bending of the knee. Oh, poor thing. Oh man. That does sound awful. That would be, yeah. I would be, oh man. You make sure everyone's taking care of me. They tested me for fibromyalgia and RA. My mom had RA. They said they didn't think it was those things, but they're not sure. I don't think they're sure what it is. And I think it's just from the cutting, the slicing, the dicing I've had over the last 10 years. I mean, throughout my body, I've had a lot of injuries. So I think that could be it. And where it's like, I have nerve damage just like everywhere, but they don't know how to classify it. It's kind of like what I think. So. Oh, because of you, until I have basket case. Oh. You were in a brace for 6 weeks. Oh my gosh. We feel the pain around here. We all know. I think all of us have had really bad injuries in this chat. Like really we have. Especially if we're at the end of the chat. So let me see here. I texted Vincent and I said, "Are you awake?" That's funny. He didn't write me back. I said, "Hello." That's funny. Well, I'm going to jump off here. We love you, Ashley. We do. And we love Boo Thing too. She's our Boo Thing. Hopefully she's doing okay. But I will see you guys all tomorrow. Every time I see that gnome in the background, it makes me laugh. I don't know why. I feel like I need to move my tree closer. And you can also, I have this little house and I put a candle in it by the tree and it makes it like light up, but you can't really see it. That's a shame. And Nancy's in the corner tonight, so she's in trouble. But I'll see you guys all tomorrow, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I may come on. I won't. You know I'll be here at 8:15 probably, but I'm going to try to come on at like 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you guys so much for being here tonight. If you don't mind hitting the like button on the way out, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 15,000 subscribers. That way we can do our next giveaway. Also, don't forget to subscribe, have your gifts set to on, because we're going to be gifting out memberships for the month of December. So thank you guys for being here tonight. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Bye, guys.